Hello everyone, today we are going to talk about Jetpack Compose navigation. So let's see what dependencies do we need for this. So we need the navigation compose, we need the Moshi library because let's say we want to pass an object, an car object to another screen, and this will convert it into a JSON to be parsable to another screen. We have the lifecycle dependencies to get the view model directly into the composable. So let's start by creating a navigation composable and navigation composable, and let's start by creating the nav controller. So nav controller, remember nav controller. What this basically do, this makes the navigation between the screens, and the nav host, this will link the nav controller to the navigation graph. We are not using a graph here, so we are replacing it with the start destination. Let's open a block and create a composable. This will hold our screen and the route of the screen. So let's pass an empty string for now and an empty block. Let's add the navigation to the main activity because I forgot to add it. And let's create a routes object. So routes object will contain our screen routes. So we have the home screen, that will be a simple home, and we have the car screen that will have an optional argument that will be, which will be an ID. So we have an ID of a car. Let's get back into the navigation, and let's replace the start destination with routes dot home, and the first composable will be our home route. So let's replace these two, and let's create our home screen. This will be a box with that will fill the max size. Let's import the modifier, and let's align the content into the center. Let's format the code, and let's add a button that will say navigate to car with ID of 10. And now let's also add an on navigate to car screen, or just car, okay, function. And let's replace the on click with it, and let's add the home screen here. So we have the on navigate to car that will use the nav controller, navigate, and now we can pass the routes dot car, and we need to pass an ID now. So let's replace the old ID with the curly braces with 10, and let's make it a string. We also need to create the car screen, so let's start by defining the route. So route equals routes car, and let's open the block, and let's define the argument now. So arguments equals a list of nav argument, okay, and let's enter the argument name. This is an ID, and now let's open a block and specify the type of the arguments, and this will be a nav type of int, and the default value will be 0. Now let's also create the UI. I'm just copying the UI from the previous screen. Car screen, which will have an ID as a parameter of type int. And now let's paste the code and change and add another function that says on navigate back. Let's replace the function with on navigate back, and let's remove the text and replace it with navigate back. Let's also add a column and add a text that says the car ID. So car ID is ID that we are getting from the parameter. Now we need to add the screen into the route, car screen. Let's enter on 0 for now. And an empty function on navigate back will be an empty function for now. And let's get the backstack entry. This will help us to get the ID. So let's define a variable ID, backstack entry, arguments, and get int, because as we defined here, it's an int type. Get ID, and let's check if the ID is not null, and let's pass it to our screen. And we need to also define the on navigate back. So nav controller pop backstack. This will navigate back to the previous screen. Let's run the app and see how it looks. Now let's try the app. So if I click on this, it should appear the car ID and the navigate back button. So okay, it works, and let's navigate back. Now we want to remove the home screen from the backstack. So in order to do this, we need to go here on navigate car, and let's add, I forgot to say that launch single top will launch a single instance of the screen, so it won't be multiple screens that are in the backstack. And let's add the pop-up tool. This will remove the screen from the navigation history. So we are passing the current screen route, and we add inclusive equals true. Let's run the app again. Let's navigate to the screen, and if we navigate back, it won't work. Okay, and if we press the back button, it will close the app. Okay, now let's try to get the ID into our view model. So in order to do this, we need to create a car view model that will have on private val save state handle. This will help us to get the argument from the route, and let's make it a view model, and let's define an ID variable, mutable state of our int. Default value will be 0, and import this. Okay, now we need to access the save state handle dot get int, and we are getting the ID. We check if it's not null, and if it's not null, we assign the new ID. And let's remove the ID from the car screen and add the view model. So view model will be a car view model that is equal to the view model. Let's copy the path and edit it here, view model, and remove it from here. Oops. And we can replace the ID with viewModel.id. Why is this useful? For example, we can make an API call into our view model with the ID, not in our screen. Let's run the app and see if it's okay. Oh, I forgot to remove the ID from the screen. And now let's try to run the app. And if we navigate, it will display the ID, and ID is 10. And I forgot to say that we can remove these from here, because we don't really need them if we are passing it directly to the view model, so we can just have it like that. Now let's try to pass an entire object to our view model. So let's create a data class of a car that will have an ID of type int. It will be 0, and the model will be an empty string. Now we need to create our car. So let's define it here. Car, it's an ID of 15 with a model Tesla Model 3. And now we can create our Moshi instance. Moshi.builder, and we add, I need to import it because it doesn't auto import. Kotlin JSON adapter factory, and we need to build it. Let's format the code a little bit and create our car adapter. This will make operations, for example, to convert the object into JSON or get it from the JSON. So car adapter will be a Moshi adapter, and we are passing the car class and class Java. Now we can create our JSON car here. So car JSON will be a car adapter dot to JSON, and we are passing the car. Now we can also replace the ID with a car directly, or let's say car, entire car. Okay, entire car with car, and let's replace the car with our JSON, car JSON. Okay, let's replace the ID with the car, will be a car type, and the value will be a empty car. We also need to copy the adapter and the Moshi, and let's make them private, and let's change this to string, and change the get argument will be a car. Now let's use the car adapter, and let's create an object from JSON, and let's check if the object is not null, and new car will and we are assigning the car with a new car, and let's add the ID here, car ID, and let's also add car model is car model, and let's run the app and see how it looks. I forgot to replace this text from the screen once, so it will navigate to the car with an ID of 15, and as you can see, the car ID is 15 and the car model is a Tesla Model 3, and we can't navigate back because I haven't removed the pop-up to function. So if you like this content, follow me for more.